The 21st century. Mankind, spurred on by the vast technological advances seen over the last 100 years, is in a period of expansion never before seen. But as the old adage goes, what goes up must come down. A series of mysterious explosions across the world begins. Nobody knows who or what causes them, but by the time the dust settles, massive sections of human civilization have been destroyed. In the wake of this destruction is a fractured society. The world is beset by a strange phenomenon known as timefall, what appears to be simple rain that speeds up time for anything it comes into contact with. Across the world, scientists notice the presence of a new material, chiralium. This material forms strange, crystalline protrusions from the ground that look unsettlingly like human hands. And worst of all, on all corners of the globe, the presence is recorded of something strange. Dark figures that it is said were the cause of these explosions. Some say that these creatures are not of this world, but are instead from another place, another time, another dimension. That they've become washed up on the shores of our world. These figures, these creatures, these beached things know no mercy. They consume and they destroy, seemingly blindly. Humanity has been subjected to a Death Stranding. Nobody knows quite why it happened, or if it could have been avoided. Fossil records and cave paintings seem to suggest that it has happened before, but seemingly never to this extent. The worlds of the living and the dead have been merged. They have collided wildly, setting human society back hundreds of years, yet opening the doors to new possibilities. Chiralium is introduced to our world. This strange material, present in the air in varying densities, is able to crystallize, forming structures that resemble the human hand. When in this crystalline form, it doesn't seem to experience the effects of time. Humanity learns to exploit this property, coating materials and structures in a fine layer of chiralium, and making these things all but impervious to the effects of timefall. It is quickly discovered, however, that overexposure to chiralium can be lethal. In high enough quantities it can cause death, but lower level chiral contamination is linked to depression, suicidal tendencies, and apocalyptic nightmares. Each thing slowly weakening the sufferer's grip on their sanity and leaving them as mere vestiges of the humans they once were. The presence of chiralium in the air leads to the appearance of timefall. Not much is known about the causes of it beyond the fact that it's much more common in areas with high chiral density. Timefall causes the rapid, uncontrolled aging of whatever it comes into contact with, be that cargo, common materials such as metal and ceramic, or the skin of a human being, unwittingly caught in the open. Once it has conferred its time-accelerating properties, timefall becomes ordinary water, safe for drinking, washing, or irrigation. Much like the positive properties of chiralium, humanity quickly learns to exploit the time-accelerating properties of timefall. Timefall farms can be found across the world, built in areas with high chiral density and using the time acceleration to grow crops at a much faster pace than would ordinarily be possible. But the presence of chiralium and timefall are mere symptoms. They're indicators of the presence of something much more dangerous, something humanity is yet to understand or harness, something altogether stranger. When the worlds of the living and the dead collided, humanity was exposed to the presence of beaches, liminal spaces between the two worlds that are unique to each person, given form by their thoughts and beliefs in life. On the beach, nothing ages, and nothing changes. But the beach's location between the worlds of the living and the dead mean that it is connected to both, and as a result of the Death Stranding, When a human dies, their soul will be unable to separate from the mortal body, unless that body is destroyed through a process such as cremation. If the body is not destroyed, it will necrotize, undergoing a process that results in the creation of a new BT, a beached thing. These are the souls of dead things that have become trapped in the world of the living while still being connected to the beach through a structure not unlike an umbilical cord. They are thought to still be sentient but are unable to experience the world of the living, while also being unable to pass on to the world of the dead. They exist in a horrifying limbo, and are formed entirely of antimatter. BTs will attempt to reach out towards any living thing they make contact with. This must never be allowed to happen. If the antimatter of a BT contacts the matter of a living thing, both are immediately and utterly destroyed in a void-out. An antimatter explosion with unparalleled destructive force. Any living things caught in the explosion will be killed, and their souls will fail to pass on, becoming tethered to the beach and resulting in more BTs. It is theorized that the world has experienced multiple Death Strandings, that the worlds of the living and the dead have collided in the past, though never with quite the same destructive force. It is also theorized that the effects of this stranding have been made worse by the human race's ability to understand the concept of death in real, abstract terms. Whatever the truth is, the only certainty is that the world will never be the same. That humanity must try to learn to live in this new world. That we must reforge the connections we once held. And that if we don't, we may all end up stranded on the beach.